Aiming arguably is still the most important skill in Valorant, and so today I want to share 5 advanced aiming tips with you that you're not going to find in every other video. Let's go. Tip number 1 is to put your outer fingers in touch with the mousepad when aiming. So this means your thumb and your pinky, and then depending on your mouse grip, also your ring finger should be a little bit below the bottom of the mouse and press into the mousepad. The advantages of this technique are that you're getting more sensory feedback on your mouse movements and that you have more stability when aiming. Since your fingers have more friction on the mousepad compared to your mouse itself, you can kind of customize how much stopping power you want to have. The more you press into the mousepad, the more force you will need to move, and the easier it will be to stop movements. This can help you with controlling fast flicks or very subtle micro adjustments as well. If you've never aimed like this, try it out for yourself and you will find that it's a completely different aiming experience. Moving on to tip number 2, we have getting the hit marker in order to set up easy shots. Now, I'm sure most of you know that in Valorant you're supposed to burst a lot and then move in between those bursts to stay a hard target. And I'm also sure you all have experienced fights already in which you followed that protocol and did your burst move pattern, only to find that you missed every single burst and died eventually. Now, here's the change I want you to make. When you burst, you should not just flick or micro adjust and then fire your burst in one place. Because if you see that you're missing the target, it makes no sense to fire more bullets into nothing, right? So instead, you should try to still correct your burst by tracking the target while bursting. This will allow you to hit at least one bullet off that burst and apply a hit marker to the target, which will slow the target down. And this is key because now you can strafe and adjust your aim onto a slow target to set up a very easy headshot kill. This tip does not only apply to bursting, but also to aiming at hard targets. Let's say you have a sheriff and catch an enemy off guard and he starts bunny hopping around to dodge your shots. Instead of trying to get an instant headshot kill, you should be looking to just hit him anywhere to get the hit marker and then secure the kill on the easy, slower target. Trust me, once you start to hit more shots overall, aiming will start to feel much easier. Now, in order to track whether or not you're improving your aim with these techniques, I highly recommend using Insight, because here we break your game down for free, and next to other metrics, our spider chart has its own aiming category. So in between average damage per round, hit distribution and duels win rate, you can check your current stats and then see how they develop after implementing the tips from this video. Next up, we have resetting your aim before peaking angles. This is about us always having to move our mouse around while clearing angles. Sometimes you have to do edge tracking to move around corners, etc. And what ends up happening is that our mouse is out of its default position. Now, let me ask you, what is the best mouse position for you to aim from? What is like your base from which you best know how much you need to flick in order to be on target? That's right, your default position. So if we end up peaking with our mouse away from that default position, naturally we're not going to aim our best. Of course, we can still get the kill, but we are just not going to be as consistent. So I want you to reset your mouse and your aim before every single default angle you peak. This means lifting up your mouse, putting it back into default position, and then strafing out to peak the angle. In addition to setting up your best aiming ability, this will also prepare you mentally, because you're kind of following a set protocol and you know that every time you do this reset, you mean business and you're going to peak the next angle in order to get a kill. Tip number 4 is to stop hard pre-aiming into walls when you're taking fights in which the enemy will likely peek into you as well. Now, of course, it's fine to pre-aim into walls before you peek out in order to clear a default angle. That is basically how pre-aiming and angle clearing works. However, there are many fights in which both players know that an enemy is close and both players will peek into each other. And in these situations, it is not a good idea to pre-aim into the wall, because when the enemy peeks you, your crosshair will end up far away from their head. I had this problem for the longest time and still struggle with it to this day, because it feels weird to me to peek or edge track an angle with my crosshair far away from the wall. But it is the right technique here, because similar to holding an angle, you need some time to react to the enemy appearing on your screen, and so he will walk into your crosshair or even a bit past it. Finally, for tip number 5, I want to talk about the importance of not practicing lazily. Now, what do I mean by that? When we start out as beginner players, everything is new, the fundamentals of aim are exciting, and we work on slowly but surely building clean technique. The more advanced of a player we become though, the more boring these basic drills such as shooting at bots in the range become. And what happens is that we start slipping and not really caring about our warm-up and practice. The thing is, if you don't work on perfect technique and confirming every single shot being on target in practice, then how can you expect yourself to keep clean gunfighting mechanics in the pressure environment of ranked? You simply can't. You're going to panic shoot before your crosshair's on the target and find yourself in a crouch spray the next second. So instead, work on perfect form when you practice. Aim for 100% accuracy and quickly confirming that you're on target before you shoot. I'm not saying slow down to the point where it's easy and 100% safe. I'm saying aim for 100% accuracy with a speed that still forces you to be highly focused. I once heard a story about Kobe Bryant and how he started every practice session with about 30 minutes of the most basic dribbling exercises. And someone asked him, "Kobe, why are you still doing these exercises? You're the best player in the world." And Kobe said something along the lines of, "Yeah, but if I can't fully trust my fundamentals, how do I expect to be consistent?" So, moral of the story, keep working on the fundamentals and practice them with full focus. Now, of course, Kobe did not only have the dribbling skills, but he also had the game sense, if you want to call it that. And the same goes for you. You not only need the aim, but also the decision-making abilities in order to carry your games. So make sure to check out this video about the SCT concept of decision-making next. I'll see you there.